Hello everyone, let's get to the next camera. So far I have showed you the GoPro 8 that I used, the GoPro 11, and now we are here with the Sony ZV-E10. I bought this camera, I don't know, 2 years ago, 1.5 years, I don't even remember. And I got it because I'm always upgrading my equipment to get better videos. By the way, I make my main channel, I make videos about electric cars, so you can go and subscribe to either English battery life or German battery life TE. I film with multiple cameras, sometimes at the same time. And right now this is my B camera, so my main camera, the Sony a7S III that I'm filming right now, is filming the important part that I know is hard and I need a good quality and everything and control, and then this is just on me, so the next best thing I have. But when I bought this 2 years ago, this was the successor for my equipment that I have from the Canon M50. The Canon M50 was my first camera. Before that I filmed with a smartphone, a very old smartphone now. And then I upgraded to the Canon M50, and the M50 was okay. It was good pictures, by the way, way better pictures than what the Sony can produce. Filming in 1080p was okay, not amazing. But in 4K you have a 1.6 crop. That means when you filmed with the Canon M50 and you wanted to film in 4K, it cropped in extremely and it was not usable. And I don't film 4K even right now with this camera as well for higher resolution, so I can put this in a 4K video and upload it. No, for me 4K is there to have more control. So I upload my videos in 1080p. So far that worked the best for me when it comes to file size, uploading, and nobody complained why is this not in 4K so far. And but I have the control to not film in like this. I can film in a bit wider, and then afterwards I can zoom in. And a lot of times in my main channels I film, like I said, electric cars, and I don't know, I film something from here in the middle to the car, and then something is happening on the screen or in my cockpit view there, and then with 4K I can zoom in and it still looks okay. In 1080p, when you zoom in to something small, you can't see anything. The resolution is not enough. And it was 4K is the reason why I wanted it. And the Sony ZV-E10 does not crop when you use it in 4K. I don't use it as my main camera anymore for a few reasons. Because this camera had a few upsides that I didn't have with the Canon M50, but it had a lot of downsides where I was never really satisfied with the camera. Like I said, I just keep it for B camera now. I got the kit with the Sony ZV-E10 with this 16-50 zoom lens. Optical steady shot is in there, which I never noticed. I like it that I can zoom with a button. So it zooms in and out. That's nice that you can do that, so you can make smooth zooms, and you can do it with the remote control, for example, or with the app. Downside to this is when you put this on a tripod and zoom into exactly where you want it, and then you turn off the camera, it goes back in, and when you turn it on, it zooms to the standard position, which is the 16mm. So what you have just framed your shot is gone. That was very annoying. Let's get to the reasons why I bought this camera. Like I said, first to have 4K and not have crop. That was important to me, that I can film something in 4K and still zoom in and have nice quality. Then what was also important to me, which the Canon M50 had, but always in the menu every time I had to check, is the volume. Look at that. You can see the volume of my sound, and I always had to check if my wireless mic that I have on right now is working. And in the Canon M50 you could do that, but not on the main screen. You always have to switch views So it wasn't when you see the video, it was in a different view, and it was very annoying because it happened sometimes that I forgot to turn both on, because for wireless microphone you have to turn on the receiver and the transmitter, of course. And so this is important to me, that I see right away I'm recording 4K, and I thought it's a newer camera, it should be better. And the picture quality is better when you film than with the Canon M50. And important, you have to film in 4K. When you film in 1080p, it doesn't look amazing. When you film in 4K and then bring it down to 1080p, it looks way better. For me, it was also important that it's still small, it's not too big, so I can get into places, into cars and film stuff. Back in the day, I thought that's very important. Now with the Sony A7S III and with a 16-35 lens, it's heavy and big, and those times are gone with a small and light camera. Like I said, overall it films okay. It's an APS-C sensor, so you're always a bit zoomed in. So 50mm, 60mm here is not 60mm there. So I show you, I put this 16-35mm lens on here and film something with 16, and then I zoom into the 35, and when I have it on this full frame camera and then do 16 and then to 35, you see a big difference, that it's way wider. And that's important to have a wide shot when you film yourself with a tripod or so, when you have the camera in hand, because the wider the thing is, the less you have to be far away with the camera. The problem is when it's extremely wide, so 12mm or something, then the background looks a bit weird, all gets a bit fish-eye, and 15mm, 16mm is still okay. And I could do this with the camera with 15mm, it's still okay. But there's one big downside to this camera, and this is the stabilization. So it has, you can turn off the stabilization. You can turn on standard, which does a tiny bit, but not a lot, and it's still calculated, so it's not a sensor that's moving around. It's computing that looks for the shake and moves it around. And when you do active, where it does an okay job with stabilization, it crops in by 1.2, and it's very far. And when you have it on the 16mm here, then you are extremely close, and it's a bit too close. So I didn't like it. And so to have steady shots, so when you have it on a tripod and you, I have this car here, and then you move around, it's too shaky. People complain it's too shaky, and you don't want to watch that when it's very shaky. It doesn't look good, that looks unprofessional. There is a bit of shake is fine. That it lifts the picture. It's not like now on a tripod dead. It's moving around. It breathes. It can breathe, but this was just too close if I needed the stabilization. And so for me, the solution was a tiny gimbal. I got this gimbal. I don't even know how you pronounce it. Sulchan? No. Sushan? I don't know, the Crane M3. Yeah, and this gimbal is nice and tiny. That's why I liked it. I can even take this off and it's even more tiny. And I could film myself, have the stabilization off, and it still looked good, and I wasn't too far away. And this was nice. The problem was, yes, this is good when I'm outside of the car, but it's not working when I was inside of the car. It was too big when you're driving or just looking for inside the car. It's too big, you can't do it. I had to take it off from there. So my system was outside of the car, gimbal inside of the car with a tripod that I just put on there, and then turn on stabilization on active, the full, and then I could film stuff, and then when I stopped the car, I had to put it back on here, which was very annoying. Battery, it's this Sony FW50, 1020 milliamp hours, not a lot, and it doesn't last very long. So even when you have it in there and then you don't film, it depletes a bit. And then when you're using it, I had to go through 1 or 2 batteries through the day when I was filming something. So for example, now with the Sony A7S III, 1 battery lasts me, oh my god, long. I had to change it. It happened, but I filmed a lot and had it on for a long time. Even now, I'm filming for 15 minutes now, and before I filmed many times and had it on in between. I don't turn it off. This, every time I didn't need it, turn it off. So battery, I don't have to change the whole time. And here, just leave it on. It's fine. Because battery is so good. Yes, but like I said, my problems were stabilization. And when it's stabilizing, by the way, in active, you have a bit of a cello effect, and that was not very nice. What's also not good in this camera is the rolling shutter. So when you film something that's straight and then you move around, because the sensor and the processor is so slow, it reads out the line a bit too slow, and then when you move around, it's not straight. It looks like it's on its side. What you're filming, a straight pole, for example, and you can see that. So when you film around something, it doesn't look good. So the question is, would I recommend this camera to someone who's starting and wants to film something? And the answer is sadly no. I would suggest to get a full frame camera, so get the what is it, ZV-E10, or what is it, the new one? They came out full frame, not the same specs as this A7S III, but way more amazing than this. I will get that. Yes, this is nice and small, but with the stabilization not good, with the crop, I was hoping that they would change it and have less crop and not as much stabilization. It's still okay, but they never changed the firmware. I don't know. If you need an HDMI out, it doesn't have it. You need the mini HDMI mini, so that's not amazing. My new camera has a full HDMI out. I love that too. And the battery wasn't amazing, so I would not recommend this to get this. I have it now. It's better than my old Canon M50, which I sold already. And this is a good B camera if I have to film something at the same time with this camera. But this camera that I'm filming right now, in every aspect, it's just 10 times better. From the settings that I can use, that it's full frame, it looks better, it can handle more. It's just, I love this so much. Way better than this, and yeah, it costs 4 times what this costs. But the new full frame camera, the small one that Sony has, is I think double not even double the price, maybe 50% more than this. This was 800 euros. And it's way better. I would recommend this and not that. And I don't recommend this lens also. First of all, it's not good. It's nice and small. That's good. The 16 to 50, 3.5 to 5.6 optical steady shot Sony. It's a nice starting lens. Again, like I said, very small. But I can put this on here, and this is already better. But when it comes to size, then this is just awesome. The zoom is nice, that you can zoom it with the button here and whatever. You have a very nice smooth zoom then, and like I said, you can control it with remote control, for example, or your app. But that you lose framing, that's just annoying. And I think at that time when I bought this camera, I was more, I need one camera, one lens, and it should be okay. And then when I bought this camera here, since then I have 3 lenses. I have 4 lenses, but one I'm selling because this is just better. So I have one fixed focal length here, 24mm. I have the 16 to 35, and I have a 50 to 200 or 250 even. So if I have to zoom a lot, I take this. This is for my normal use, and this is if I'm steady, if I'm not don't have it in my hand. It just looks the best. Yes, it's a bit more work, but it looks way better. I think that's it. Subscribe. I know I don't do a lot of videos, but main channel is first, and this comes next. And next video will be for the Sony A7 III, which is amazing.